Great. So, hello again. It's really a great honor to be a keynote speaker on UTIC conference, which as I wrote many times, has become my second home. And what's most importantly, the professional colleagues who I came to know here have become my friends. So thanks a lot, the organizers of UTIC, Stanislav in particular, thank you. And I'm very happy to see you all here. I'm happy to see guests from abroad because in these complex and complicated times, despite the situation in the world, you managed to come. Leonita, Konstantin, Katya, Lena, and maybe to me as well for managing to do that. So, I'm going to talk to you about living in the time of changes. I understand the motivation. I've changed many things in my life. I've changed my name, I've changed my surname, I've changed my country of residence, city of residence, I've changed my interests and profession even. I probably never changed my gender, but I'm always open for experiments. I don't claim to be an expert in the field, and maybe what I say is not so much news for you, but it's always useful to look at the situation in perspective, and we will try and gauge this perspective and try and outline it. I'm going to be looking into my paper because my notebook is still left hanging somewhere on the way, so the presentation is with it, so I'm going to be looking into the paper. Every generation lives in some sort of era of changes. Even in the stagnation, there is some progress somewhere in culture or elsewhere. So it's not that now we have a completely unique time in terms of there being changes. There have always been changes, but what's changing is the speed of these changes. The speed of progress stands in correlation with progress of transport and communication. Before some time, these two factors were going hand in hand. Information traveled with the speed of the fastest transport way. A coach or postal birds. And it took people some time to learn new skills and not to be so much in a hurry because progress was not in a hurry. But these Middle Ages formula where the times are changing and we're changing with the times really did work. We looked at new things, we tried to figure our way around them and try to use them for our good. Between the first steam engine and the first steam train, 125 years. The first steamship and the first aircraft were distance away in 100 years. So there was some time between the progress, between the waypoints in the progress. The Lumiere brothers in 1895 filmed the first movie, first cartoon, the first movie of a train arriving at the train station, and only 100 or less than 100 years ago, the YouTube appeared. We don't invent bicycle every day, but the existing technologies are changing so fast that every day we literally wake up in a new reality in some way. And from linear progress, we're now, from laminar progress, we're now in the age of turbulent progress. And the innovation just goes overboard all the time. As Tatiana Chernigovska said, the world is not measured anymore by the measure of humanity. We're talking about the world that humans created. But somehow it slips out of our hands now. It's all about one click away. Things that earlier took so much time and effort and investment now are one click away, or even one screen tap, one finger tap on the screen away. which is bad news. We are hopelessly lagging behind the monster of our own creation. There's not enough time to catch up with everything, and we're doomed to solve yesterday's problems all the time. But there's a good news. The monster we've created, this non-humanly measured world of ours, will also help us survive and adapt. The information that goes overboard all the time also gives us the opportunity to develop. If earlier, to master a new skill or profession, you needed to spend years and months, now in days and weeks, you can literally become an expert in a new field. You may say that it's not professional. We're used at being at aiming at perfection. We're used to aim at perfection and being perfect at everything. We're now faced with couch politologists or virusologists who listened some things on the internet and started offering their own services. This is a side effect of quick progress. Like a boat, the faster it goes, the less the more superficial it is, skimming the surface. So I want to quote the head of the company where I work, Vixnir Zavar, who in the interview for Forum said, "Jan
drive, because people are the sum of all their parts." То есть человек — это сумма параметров, в которой профессионал...
So human being is a sum of parameters where professionalism is one of those parameters, but not the only one that defines the human. You can have a deep knowledge in your field, but be open to new information, be open to changes, and catch the new trends on the fly, acquire the soft skills everybody's talking about to achieve great results. So if we take what skills you have as a foundation and then build upon them something else, something new, then you can pretty much achieve great results. The most important is to understand which way you have to go, what is interesting for you to practice, to pursue, and what also allows you to stay in your comfort zone. I felt that some of you shuddered when I said comfort zone. You probably thought I would be like past era motivators and speakers urge you to go out of your comfort zone. But I thought, what's wrong with this phrase, comfort zone? And I realized after a while, because it's unnatural for us to leave our comfort zone. For all the living beings, for human beings as well, it is natural to look for your comfort zone, to seek your comfort zone, to be where you are. You feel good. But when we feel that something is not in our comfort zone, something we don't like, we want to buy a better apartment, to go up on a vacation somewhere further away. If we are in a conference, not just to have a drink or two and to talk to friends, but to hear some news of the industry, to learn some new skills or to hone your existing skills. Yeah, you're laughing, but it's not only about wine. And so, if you want to learn something new, you're already going out of your comfort zone. You're looking for a better comfort zone. First, you try and look through the crack in the window. What's in there? And if something is wrong there, you find another way into your new comfort zone. So that's what's important, to be somewhere you like to be. And coming back to progress, the information which is accessible and free now will be the thing that helps us to quickly find our new, better, and higher comfort zone. Are you not asleep yet? You can ask a question now, and then I will reiterate it for a live stream. So what topics, as I yesterday watched it online, Lenny Tatiana said many things, what to expect today and tomorrow, so this is a homework check, yeah? What are the topics that are the most discussed this year's UTIC,
Yes.
The forest. Being in the woods.
Yes.
Okay, forest. Right. Okay, let's narrow it down. What professional topics are the most discussed on YouTube? Machine translation, right. Localization, great. Audiovisual translation, and also accessibility. Accessibility. Look, these kind of industrial conferences are a great indicator. Of course, machine translation is widely discussed everywhere, and it's somewhat of an overheated topic. But if you roll back and look through the programs last year, before last year, it was only one or two presentations about machine translation, not more. This year, I've counted 6 so far, and one of them comes tonight with Ekaterina Filatova. You're all invited to participate. It's not going to be a presentation, but it's going to be fun. Like a shameless plug from my side. But okay, we know where to move. We know the direction to move at, and if we are comfortable with some of these topics, you can find your way around it. And if you haven't been involved in machine translation or the visual translation before, now is maybe there's your time to learn it, and it won't take so much time. Machine translation, I must talk about it. So who of you have something to do with machine translation? Konstantin Dranj may just sit there and not raise your hand. So post-editing, training, so machine learning, engine learning, and anything that has to do with machine translation. Raise your hands if you have anything to do with these topics. Don't be shy. So, quite a lot of people. And it's the right thing to see, because that's the new reality of what I was talking about before. Machine translation is being discussed a lot in the localization stream. I mean business. Here in the art of translation, here in the forest of the art of translation, rather, this topic is not discussed enough. And this is where we're lagging behind. The technology is, and big companies are ahead of the game. We are still not discussing enough this. How to work with the customers who are offering you machine translation. Svetlana Svetova with Pavlov Dunayev the year before was speaking about that, but still we would need to listen to translators and interpreters who work with post-editing, who share their experience. This is what's interesting and exciting. So let's keep up with the progress. Am I not taking too much time? No. So let's keep up with the progress and follow new trends, because the train, the bandwagon of new technologies, will leave the station right on time, and it's up to you not to be late, whether you want to jump on this bandwagon or not. But the good news as well is we can always catch up with the train. Maybe even a handheld and a hand-driven cart, but still you can. I used to be a translator. Then I became a project manager. I used to have my own small company, translation company in Ukraine. Then I moved to another country and became a freelance translator. Then I felt the freelance is no longer something I'm passionate about. I was hired in a big company, first as a translator, then a project manager. Now I am managing localization for a big company, product localization into Russian, and I'm interested and excited about all of that. All my life, all my 20 years in profession, I was excited doing what I'm doing. It's just that at some point when I realized it's no longer that exciting for me, I switched to something else. I learned some new skills. Of course, I failed a little bit in the beginning. I was not so professional at the beginning, but it took me some time. And with time, I gained new experience. I gained new skills. I honed those skills. And I want to give you an example. I don't have a presentation again, but we are all creative people. Use your imagination. Remember, there's this light bulb we used to have light bulbs a century or more ago. It was a warm yellowish light produced this nice cozy light, but it was not effective. The effectiveness was like 4%, and some developed countries and even less developed countries started leaving these lamps and using energy-saving lamps with the white with the spiral arc, which you have to screw it in some nice light fixture or something. But they are not warm like fake Christmas trees, decorations. They don't bring you joy. So in 2008, some Japanese company realized that people are nostalgic about the light that is warm, a yellowish. And so they invented these lamps with the LED line or string of LEDs that are yellowish but also ineffective, like the old school light bulbs. So my suggestion, let's be the new LED driven lamps that are warm, humane, but at the same time progressive, very energy saving, very effective. And if we do that, there will always be demand for our services because human approach plus technologies is always a winning situation. We will have, we will be in demand because despite the machines dominating, there's still people needed. The content is produced every minute, and even if we're not hired as classic translator, we still have to do post editing, proofreading, content managing, creating content. Somebody has to create content. Of course, Yandex is generating machine text, all right, but still, in my experience in the company where I work, we writers are always in demand, all the time. Copywriters, creators, translators, human writers, and content creators. So we still have a future. It's just that we have to learn and follow the progress and not lag behind. So that was keynote speech. Doesn't mean you have questions automatically, but if you want, yeah, there is time for questions. No problem. I know that I've delivered this keynote speech far ahead of the time. Thank you. It was great. It was a great presentation. A keynote speech. Exciting. That's what I was expecting. Do we have questions in the audience? Please. Konstantin, no, Konstantin should not be given a microphone. I'm loud enough. He wants to be a light bulb for us all. He is a light bulb. He's a secret. You are a customer, right? Are you going to sell me some services? No. I mean, for people here, are you a customer? Using your terminology, yes, I am a customer. What's the most unusual that you started to buy in bulk, in huge copywriting? Yeah, you mentioned copywriting. What else? What else people should people do? Copywriting, technical writers, they are in great demand. Marketing writers are in great demand because marketing texts are generated in huge amounts and they have to be generated. Of course, writing them in English is great, but even in Ukrainian and Russian, they're still in demand. There's post editors who needed. Sorry, post editors. Yeah, this is our station. This is the time. I used to be doing post editing a lot, but I'm not going in there right now. Even before I was hired as a freelancer, I was doing post editing. And let me tell you, financially, from financial point of view, it can be very lucrative, and even more lucrative than translation itself. What else is in great demand? Services of people who are capable of fine-tuning your systems, your computer systems, translation projects, manager. Of course, you need to have some skills, but you can acquire those skills pretty fast now. And as a translator, if you're a staff interpreter, or you work in a company, but anyway, you understand how to properly fine-tune the management system from your side, and if the company, intermediary, or customer has to learn it, plus you add your knowledge to it as a consultant, if you know the processes, if you know the ins and outs, that is a very appreciated and feature or job in demand. If people who are in the know manage and consult. Thank you. More questions? No, still need to use the mic. Could you still tell me what the precise procedure how to become a light bulb? I have some good news for you. You are a light bulb as well. We're also okay. How to become a light bulb? Well, first of all, you can become a light bulb overnight, or you can be born as a light bulb. But I mean, how to become a star? How not to be just a fixture? Have those soft skills that we're talking about. Communication skills, professional language skills, good language, command of the language, plus learn new technologies, the new trends. 20 years ago, CAT tools were still fresh, and we were scaring each other. The CAT tools will push us out of the market. They will be translating everything. Now everybody's talking about machine translation, same thing. 20 years later, we're still using CAT tools. Nobody pushed us out of the market so far. Maybe there's not so many of us, but I don't see us extinct at the moment. So catch up with the new technologies. Build your professional skills. You're taking notes, right? Should I speak slowly? You're taking notes? Becoming a light bulb equals? Okay, Irina, you are also a light bulb, or you have a different question. You're even bigger than a light bulb. You're a projection. Everything is changing so quickly. If you're an interpreter, translator, or other specialist, how do you understand where you are? You're on the train station. You are in the bandwagon. You're on the bandwagon, or you're running after the bandwagon. How to understand? Well, from my own experience, when 3 years ago I was hired into a company, I worked with systems, with texts that the company worked with, and I didn't do much of other things. I just did some translation, managing projects. When I was a freelancer, I kept an eye on machine translation development and progress, and I wanted to use it for my work, but it was not good enough at the time for the texts that I translated. So they gave me text for post-editing, but that's a different story. I wanted myself as a translator to fine-tune my engines, but it wasn't accessible so far. 3 years later, 2 years, even 2.5 years later, and we decided to implement adapting machine translation in the company. And I started watching the internet, looking for what's happening, and there's a huge rain or shower of information falling onto me. And I realized I'm not even on the train station. I'm looking at the train going far away into horizon. For 2 years I was out of the topic and I didn't keep track with the topic. So I had to learn, I had to dig deep, I had to digest a huge amount of information about all of that. And in a couple of months I caught up with the train. And then we successfully implemented this technology in our company. So just look what's happening. If something's happening that you don't understand, that means you're lagging behind. What the conferences are talking about, UTIC is a great example. There are a lot of different topics discussed and other conferences out there. Even if you don't attend them, at least read the agenda, what they're talking about. Of course, it's not possible to look and watch everything. Just find something you like and dig deeper. Have I answered your question? I think so. Right. Yeah, you can ask a question in any language you want. Ukrainian, I understand it. I will just answer in Russian. So my question, considering how many things we have now and how things are changing, and of course everything takes time, and it's not possible to learn everything. How do you prioritize? How do you find that this specific thing is worth your time and it's worth spending time? Right, thank you. I'm always doing only things that I'm interested in, genuinely interested in. Even if at some point it's less lucrative than something else that would be lucrative for me if I pursued it. But I won't pursue something that I'm not interested in. I'm not invested. I'm not fully invested in it. I will get bored with it, and eventually I will just break my health and not earn money. So it's important to only pursue what you're really passionate about, what you really like, within your profession, of course, within your talent scope. Then it's better. If you read, if you feel that it's something that doesn't resonate with you, or still very unclear to you, or you need to invest so too much time, and you don't have that time, don't pursue it. Pursue something you really like, something you're passionate about. I didn't expect this kind of depth in the question. So interpreters are okay. More questions? Well, still, if you feel like talking, I'm going to be somewhere here in the forest, roaming about. Find me. Thank you.